Let me ask you something. What if the biggest thing holding you back from investing success wasn't the market or the economy or some piece of bad advice? What if it was your own brain? We're going to dive into a pretty fascinating idea today, that the very way you're wired to think might be your own worst enemy when it comes to money.
To really get what I'm talking about, let's do a quick thought experiment. Just picture this for a second. You're one of our ancient ancestors, a cave dweller. You're going about your day, and then bam, a tiger appears right in front of you. What's your move? Do you A, start weighing the pros and cons? B, pull out your abacus to calculate the odds? Or C, scream and run for your life? Go on, pick one.
Okay, if you picked C, congratulations. Your instincts are top-notch, and you would have lived to see another day. But here's the crazy twist. That exact life-saving instinct is precisely why your brain is about as useful for modern investing as a chocolate teapot. That gut-level run-for-the-hills panic, that's what gets us into so much trouble.
And this gets us to the absolute core of this explainer, something called the evolutionary mismatch. See, we're all walking around with these Stone Age brains, right? We're running ancient mental software, but trying to use it in the super complex, modern world of finance. It's kind of like trying to browse the internet on a rotary phone. The hardware just isn't built for the job.
And this really lays out the whole conflict perfectly. I mean, our brains evolved to deal with immediate physical danger. Think tigers, rival tribes, finding food. Gut feelings and short-term survival were literally everything. If you stopped to think, you were lunch. But investing, it demands the complete opposite. We have to deal with abstract risk, focus on super long-term goals, and use slow, careful, deliberate analysis.
So why do we have this mismatch? Well, the answer comes from the incredible work of a Nobel Prize winner named Daniel Kahneman. He basically explained that we have two different operating systems, two inner minds constantly running in our heads. On one side, you've got System 1. Let's call him our inner caveman. He's fast, he's emotional, he's all instinct and impulse, absolutely perfect for dodging that tiger. Then on the other side, you have System 2, the analyst. This system is slow, it's logical, it's deliberate, but, and this is a big but, it's also incredibly lazy. So the problem is, when we're faced with a stressful investing decision, who do you think takes over? Yep, the fast-acting caveman.
So letting our inner caveman make all our financial decisions leads us into these totally predictable mental traps. Scientists call them cognitive biases, but you can just think of them as glitches in our thinking that sabotage our goals. So let's look at 3 of the biggest ones that trip up investors again and again and again.
First up is a big one, loss aversion. Researchers figured out something wild about our brains. The sting of losing something is psychologically about twice as powerful as the joy of gaining the exact same thing. We are fundamentally wired to avoid losses at almost any cost.
And you see this bias everywhere in everyday life. Think about that really ugly vase you got as a gift. You know the one. It's stuffed in the back of a closet, you don't even like it, but for some reason, you just can't bring yourself to throw it out. Why? Because the idea of losing it feels, well, bad. That's loss aversion right there.
Now imagine that feeling with your money. It's absolutely disastrous in investing. It is the #1 reason people hold on to losing stocks for way, way too long, just hoping they'll get back to even. For our ancestors, losing their only spear was a huge deal. For us, it means watching a bad investment drain our portfolio because we refuse to accept a small loss. All right, the second trap is a true classic, overconfidence. This is that simple, powerful, and very human belief that, yeah, we're probably just a little bit better, a little bit smarter, and a little more skilled than we actually are.
The perfect example? Ask a room full of people if they're an above-average driver. I guarantee you, almost everyone will raise their hand. It happens in every study. Of course, that's statistically impossible, right? That feeling, that's pure overconfidence. And in the market, whoa. This bias leads investors to trade way too much, convinced they can outsmart everyone else. It's why people will bet their savings on a hot tip they heard on TikTok. For our ancestors, a little overconfidence might have helped them take a life-saving risk. For us, it just helps us lose money faster. And that brings us to our third major trap, herding. This is our deep, deep instinct to just follow the crowd, to do what everyone else is doing, even if, deep down, it seems completely irrational. It's that powerful urge to run with the herd, no questions asked. And you know, from an evolutionary standpoint,
This makes total sense. If you're a caveman and you suddenly see everyone in your tribe bolt and start running, you don't stop and ask why. You just run. Sticking with the herd meant safety. It was a brilliant survival tool. But when it comes to investing, that same instinct is pure poison. It leads directly to the single biggest mistake an investor can make: buying high when everyone is giddy during a market bubble, and then panic selling low when everyone is terrified during a crash. The herd leads us right off a financial cliff. Okay, so this all sounds pretty bad, right? Are we just doomed by our own brains to be terrible investors? No, not at all. The key isn't to fight our own nature, but to understand it. We just need to learn how to tame that inner caveman.
The legendary investor Warren Buffett gave us the ultimate game plan for this. When he said this, he wasn't saying to get rid of emotion. He was saying you need to be aware of the emotions of the herd, that fear and greed, and then have the discipline to do the exact opposite. It's about letting your logical brain take the wheel when everyone else is in full-on caveman mode.
And that's the real takeaway here. You can't just switch off your caveman brain. It's part of you. The goal is to develop the self-awareness to recognize when it's shouting at you, and then to consciously pause, take a breath, and engage your slow, logical analyst, your system 2, for the decisions that actually matter.
So how much does all this self-awareness stuff really matter? Let me just put a number up here for you. Just think for a second about what this could possibly represent in the world of investing.
Here it is. It's been said that successful investing is about 1% intelligence and 99% behavior. It's not about having the highest IQ or the most complex spreadsheets. It's a game of having the best control over your own worst instincts. It's about mastering yourself.
Which really brings us to the final thought. After looking at all of this, it's pretty clear. The biggest, most dangerous enemy you will ever face in your investment journey is you, the one looking back in the mirror. So the question is, now that you know the enemy, are you ready to win?